into our champion select presented by Omen and HyperX. The question once again becomes, with the Wukong gone, Azir and Orianna, those were the bans coming through from the side of HLE on the red side, but now they have first pick on blue. Yunara going to be removed from the side of Gen.G. Now the Scion makes its way onto the ban list.
Yeah, we were wondering where this Scion was going to crop up, kind of ignored in the first game, but is now put to pretty high attention. And with 10 champions already removed, a lot of them being very high priority, he's only going to reach higher heights there.
So is Gen.G going to ban Azir here is my main question. I think either you ban both Azir or Orianna, you could look for the trade, which many teams have done. But knowing my LCK teams, I wouldn't be surprised if either we're going to see Chovy's Yone again, or we're just going to ban it out. But with the Aurora being taken off the board, it does feel like that trade might very well be imminent here.
Yeah, he could, on the other hand, just not risk it and ban it away here on blue side for HLE. But I do kind of doubt that that is where they're going to be going. As far as other champions whose stocks have risen, things like the Jarvan and the Zhao for the jungle, going to be big deals, and the Vi is another big one. That one's going to be taken away here. Both Peanut and Canyon love that champion.
Ambessa
so we'll be taking that one away.
Also open. Was banned in game one, and we all know that Zeus is a big advocate for the Ambessa on the top side of the map, but with the Vi taken away, perhaps lowers the priority. We'll see where that one falls. There's the Rumble. So, the mid lane trade. Show it to us, HLE and Gen.G. Will we be getting it? Or perhaps do you have something prepared?
Or is it leave up the Azir and then pick Zeka's Yone? He's pretty good at that one. Looks like that's not going to be the case at all.
No.
We're just going to take away the Pigeon Man, and that is going to be there. So, Ambessa Orianna?
Orianna Jarvan as a possibility. Obviously don't love Jarvan into Azir just because of his ability to dash away potentially, or even ulti, but just as a combo, Jarvan plus Orianna. We know that Jarvan hasn't had the most successful time here at this year's World Championship. However, in conjunction with the Orianna is a real threat. Nocturne is another one to always be very mindful of.
Well, it is just going to be that J4 that you were talking about. Canyon not wasting any time at all. We'll throw the picks over here to HLE as Peanut. This would be one of his all-time best champions here in the Poppy. Something that we trusted him on a whole lot, but instead, he was baiting us.
Yeah, I was about to ask you how likely do you think a Skarner/Poppy is, because I remember throughout this year, Skarner Azir felt like the go-to combo in the LCK. Right now, he is flirting with the Azir option, and it looks like that is going to be secured. So nothing too surprising. A very reliable, well-rounded jungler right now that has found a ton of success this year at Worlds.
Works in a ton of compositions. Also has been one of the picks that Canyon this Worlds has had a ton of success on. So the Azir Orianna trade is something I want to go back to for a little bit, because it does really feel like you can argue that post-6, the Azir has a lot of playmaking potential. Orianna without flash is a sitting duck. If the matchups were traded, I'd also feel pretty good about the laning phase prospect for the Azir, but Chovy in lane on Orianna has been a menace, as this time Delight does get access to his Poppy, and just into Jarvan alone, that is a nightmare. I do think that the Jarvan pick will have a lot of good picks into when it comes to AD carries. Both Ezreal and Corki are already gone, and outside of Lucian, a lot of the other AD carries do struggle playing into Cataclysm.
Yep, and the Poppy as well is theoretically able to deal with the Ambessa if she's in the same area. Or Cassante, certainly a lot of dashy champs to be used towards that top side. So now Gen.G, difficult choices to make. They will just be taking away their support, as well as the Nautilus is locked in here for Duro, a man who played so well in game number 1. We'll see what he can get done here on the Big Daddy.
And one of the main reasons we've seen the Nautilus picked a lot into Poppy is because if you time the hook right, if you do get knocked away, you can tank the ultimate, find the hook, and remain in the fight. And it's been something.
Was it Duro that was doing it like consistently?
Yes, yeah, it was. It's a little silly, and then obviously having the ability to set up for a guaranteed shockwave is nice as well with the Nautilus ultimate.
So we're looking towards bot and top lane. And Gen.G says, hang on, Zeus, we know you play carry champs. That Rek'Sai won't be fooling us.
Oh, they're eyeing that. If I see Jax bans, they're eyeing that Cassante on 4.
Ah.
That's what I'm looking towards.
I mean, also Ambessa is also another champ that I'm thinking about.
Kai'Sa's another.
Yeah, we did talk about it. Oh, I mean, Kai'Sa Nautilus, yes. A very consistent combo that we've seen at all levels of play. Sivir, though, going to be the option from the side of HLE. We know that Sivir, very well-rounded and great scaling AD carry, provides a ton of damage as well.
I do really like the Sivir ban here because it's only pickable by Gen.G. Because they have the Jarvan, and Sivir doesn't like being put in a cage.
Oh, no.
So
time.
a pretty good idea to make sure that no one has access to that champion. Let's see, is it just going to be the Ambessa ban here? They don't necessarily have to if they want to pick it, but instead, it's going to be the Jhin taken away from Viper. Already a lot of consistent damage represented by the Azir, so I wouldn't have minded it as much as I normally would.
Jhin is also one of the champions that can play out of Jarvan's effective range, so you're not really at as much risk of getting taken down by him. Also might be a showcase of Gen.G wanting to go for something with a little bit more of a weaker laning phase, and Jhin obviously can be a big lane bully. As we will see what the final ban will be here, as Renekton going to get taken away here for Kiin.
I was expecting Kai'Sa to be banned.
Yeah.
Something that you mentioned earlier. I feel as though this should be an easy lock-in now for Gen.G, unless they really want that K'Sante. Do they want that fairly stable top side of the map? Of course, with Poppy, Azir, I really don't love a blind K'Sante here, especially with Zeus' room to counterpick, even if his counterpick options are a little bit more limited.
And I was wondering about the fact, because Ruler did play Kai'Sa into Poppy, as we'll remember, in the game against AL, and Kyle did kind of boom him in that team fight that ended up winning the game.
They played everything into Poppy, and it didn't work. As Ziggs just going to be locked in. There is the Ambessa alongside it, and with the Renekton banned away, there's not a lot of fantastic picks into it.
Wow.
As Kiin is thinking about taking the on, this would certainly be a little bit more of the scaling option, but if that is going to be Lethality Varus, they may lack a little bit of oof later into the game.
The thing is, you need more engaged than you have, because Azir, Ziggs, like, you think Azir is long range, and then putting a Ziggs on top of it, yes, it's a lot of magic damage. Oh, he's going to lock in Gwen. He locks in Gwen, okay. He says, no, I want kill threat on the back line. I'm looking for flanks. I'm looking to make their poke redundant as I run straight towards them and look to snip, snip, snip.
That was not what I was expecting.
Oh, no. No, there were a lot of different angles. The Ornn to me made sense because, as you highlighted, Vedi, there is so much disengage available. Literally 4 out of 5 champions on Hanwha Life have tools to create space one way or another. And then Zeus will just be off on his own, diving in, backed up by the bomb. This is a lot of faith being put in Kiin. He was one of our Gwens that, as Atlus highlighted earlier, no matter what the game state was, could find an impact. I'm mostly worried about Ruler because I think that playing Varus, either a variety of Varus, into Ambessa and Ziggs is going to be a really unfun time. If you get clipped by anything and the bomb comes on top of your head, you just don't get to play the game, and I think that's why they wanted to go for the Gwen to add an initial damage source if Ruler doesn't get to play the game.
Bit disrespectful to Zeka as well, because we all know exactly what happened in the Varus versus Azir matchup not too long ago.
A lot of lore there.
Yeah, there's a little bit of lore there, but we'll see whether Zeka is going to be able to replicate what Faker did, or whether it is going to be more on the other side, whether Ruler can overcome his demons.
I just love that HLE is coming in with what we expected, a lot of preparation in this series. Game 1, we saw the Pantheon. Game 2, bringing out the Ziggs already with this Azir-Ziggs combo, a combination that, to my recollection, we haven't seen this year, but it is very long range. It is a lot of magic damage, but if you itemize that much magic resistance, well then, that's Zeus' time to shine with a Xin alongside him. The dive threats are there. We're jumping into Game 2 of this best of 5 between HLE and Gen.G, a rematch of the LCK finals as both these teams fight for a semi-final spot.
Yep, and as we said earlier on, if you missed Game 1, go back and watch it. You need to. It was absolutely unbelievable.
We just have them side by side.
Yeah, you can have them side by side.
At all.
Yeah. There is a little bit of downtime, but honestly, not as much as we were expecting, to be honest.
I mean, we had a very slow early game, and then we got many kills.
We did.
Yeah, we didn't really ramp up as we do take a look at the head-to-head here between Gen.G and Hanwha, and it all kind of went all right for Hanwha when they were up 2-0 in road to MSI.
Oh, God.
That's when the good times ended. Up until that point, this team had been really at the forefront for the LCK. Gen.G really struggling with implementing Duro, which if you hadn't watched all year, you're going to be like, what are you talking about? Having watched the last game.
I mean, the most interesting thing to me was it felt like that coming into MSI, these were the 2 best teams.
They were.
And so then to not have HLE represent at MSI was a surprise. And then coming into Summer, or the Split 3, I heard the conversation about, oh, well, you know, HLE have fallen off in the regular season, and T1 is clearly now our second best team. And then Katie ruined everything. And then HLE found themselves in the finals once more.
Hey, you can't be mad at the Agent of Chaos for creating chaos. That's just what they do.
That's true.
You know, that's why they're there.
It feels like a beautiful culmination of what has been.
Kiin?
Kiin's running with scissors, and Zeus needs to get the heck out of the way. Snip, snip. One more would have done it, but he holds position. Flash is not traded, as Kiin knew that he couldn't confirm the kill. Didn't want to make himself too vulnerable, but Zeus, he's not going to be able to get back to this wave like ever. He does decide to do so, as now Kiin could be the one in trouble. Oh! But Kiin had the scissors out and chops him down. It's a solo kill in the top lane.
This is an amazing demonstration of why pots are so important. Zeus popping the pot early on in the fight allowed him to survive the initial retreat. But Kiin had another one. So when he goes in for the second engage, that extra tick of HP buying him enough space, and then Kiin with the return damage ends up getting the outplay.
And I think Zeus was expecting to be able to burst him down when he went back in. But Kiin is Conqueror stacked, and he's just quick enough with the auto there.
Well, I think flashing away allowed the time for the auto cooldown to come off, so that when he then flashed to follow up, he was able to land that auto just before him. Wow, Kiin with first blood here in game 2.
And with so many of us talking about Kiin as the best to do it, it's looking like we're feeling pretty good about that distinction. We'll just have to see how this series goes on, because, man, it was close. Zeus, of course, going for the three-peat. Kiin looking for his first Summoner's Cup after being able to qualify in the LCK with every single standing position. Only recently picking up his first trophy, being able to augment that with another. Has not reached the highest of heights. Zeus spending some time away from the Gwen, as we can see here.
Yeah, is unrelenting, despite the fact that he, I want to say, got solo kill, put himself in a position trying to look for the all-in. Obviously didn't work out. I think they do know what Canyon's pathing has been, so he felt safe knowing that Canyon most likely would be on the bottom side of the map, clearing his camps there. Is Peanut looking for something, but not going to find it just yet, as the first Drake about to spawn in 30 seconds, as Chovy keeping the pressure on Zeka here.
And this is a matchup that we've seen sort of traded throughout this tournament. Chovy has always just walked at Azir's in this lane, and as we can see here...
Still doing it.
Yep. Zeka down to 100. I think it was Chovy versus Showmaker. He just walked into lane and just killed him. And there was nothing that Showmaker could do about it. It's not how I expected the matchup to go, but it's just kind of how ruthless he is on this champion. And that seems to be happening once again. Only a slight lead as far as CS is concerned. We will be teleporting back as we've got a bit of a scuffle here towards this bottom side. Heroic charge, not quite doing too much as Kiin trying to get the damage down onto Delight. There's the hook, but it doesn't quite hit the mark that they were looking for. Zeus still dashing around, trying to find the angle. Peanut making his way in. He'll get the audacious charge. Wind becomes lightning, and he takes down Duro. Kiin gets one back, but it's a double for the man on his last dance as they equalize the kills.
I love that the bloodshed has not slowed down from game 1. Both teams looking to get violent on the Rifters. Zeka goes for a bit of a trade, but that bot lane skirmish, the swap had come through from both AD carry players. The top laners didn't want to slow down. If anything, they'd just gotten more summoner spells. The Shockwave connects in mid.
Yeah, Chovy's still trying to throw this ball around, but you can see Zeka standing here, does have
support.
the minion advantage at this point in time. And yeah, we do have some backup incoming, just not quite going to get here in time. Flashes still up and available for both mid laners as Gen.G set their eyes on this dragon.
A big miss there for Duro. He had hit that hook. Maybe they trade 2 for 2 because it did end up being quite close. It's now Duro covering to make sure that Chovy gets to catch this wave. Obviously, otherwise Zeka, the combo of the Azir wall with the Poppy stun is something we've seen many a time. As Canyon, thanks to the timing here, will be able to just get this dragon early on. Delight might be trying to annoy a little bit, but they're not contesting this really, and just going to give up the early objective.
Yep. Having a look at it here from the side angle. It's just Canyon finishing this one off.
It's pretty interesting that even though Kiin has 2 kills, because of how far behind in farm he's fallen, the gold is, well, now dead even. Of course, he will have this wave to try and catch, but Zeus definitely not in a bad spot as Peanut
Yeah, looking for a bit of an angle here as Viper throws down Satchel and some bombs, but otherwise not too much else going to come out of it as Duro teleports in with that unsealed spellbook, and they haven't quite been able to take this first plate towards the top side of the map.
I really can't get over how slow the teleport is.
Oh, the
you see
turtle
Duro just leisurely involved from running towards top. Good TP though, because Zhao in particular, it's so easy to just stack up your passive from Q on the turret as Chovy.
Emperor's Divide gets flashed. Zeka holds onto his, so next time that ulti comes back again, this Azir might be able to find his target. Of course, Chovy going to throw some damage back, but this is going to give Zeka a whole lot of space.
Chovy also holding his flash, not using it too early in the event that Zeka was trying to bait him out. He wanted to wait for the summoner spell before going, but Delight now, oh, Chovy's positioning. He needs to be so careful, Hex Flash.
Yeah, cute little Hex Flash does come on over as Chovy gets pushed back just a little bit, finds the double Shockwave Canyon, not quite here close enough. But man, Chovy not scared of too much here in this mid lane.
He's used to being the target of relentless ganks, and he's able to stave that one off as he finds himself with about a 10 CS lead. He's looking to push in one more wave as the resets come through. Zeka doesn't have the TP available, which means the Viper's going to be the one to catch this. Azir, a champion that's happy to sit in a side lane. Orianna, a little less comfortable just because of her lack of mobility once that flash is unavailable. Canyon going to secure the first grub of the game, and then EQ over the wall to safety. Chovy's back actually interrupted.
Yeah, Mega Inferno Bomb comes down as Viper wants to finish him off. Down to 150, but it's not quite enough. As the Ziggs can make his way back towards this mid lane, but that is a decent amount of cooldowns now eaten up here, as Viper does need to now wait the longer time for that one to come back off.
Will Nat Hanwha Life the 2 grubs. That really is the most...
That's the prize?
Yeah, that, maybe a mid plate as well. We do see that Viper's currently trying his best there. His matchup in top lane is very volatile, and Kiin did get an early lead, but just one kill, I think generally isn't really enough to break open the matchup completely. Really looking at a bit more of a substantial gold lead or some item finishes, which haven't quite come through. As Duro's here.
Yeah, a little bit of a face check here from Zeus as he throws out the public execution. Duro, he's going to turn up though, and down goes the Ambessa. That is Feats of Warfare over to Gen.G, and a bit of a mistake once again here for the HLE top laner.
And that flash from Kiin, ensuring the ult doesn't hit. There's not enough damage, and Duro's there, getting him. I think that crucial extra kill. Now the gold lead is going to start to balloon.
And Kiin is terrifying when he's died 4 times.
Yes.
Now he's 3-1-0 on this Gwen, and I know the matchup has evolved over time. Gwen isn't quite the menace that she was before. With this much extra money, she is. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, she absolutely is.
She can buy the extra base armor, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I'm most interested in is how well Gen.G can close the gap. Because right now, HLE's composition would love to draw a line in the sand. If you imagine Gen.G starting on a dragon, they're going to poke you with sand soldiers. They're going to throw Ziggs bombs at you. They want to chip away at your HP before threatening a dive. Ideally, they might even just approach a fight, ult onto Ruler with Viper, take 50% of his HP, and then say, okay, now what are you going to do about it, Gen.G? But if HLE are first on the objective, and HLE feels sort of trapped by that objective, it then becomes a lot easier for Gen.G players to find that collapse. So their approach around these objectives, the setup is going to be very important as you keep your eyes on Kiin, who's going to constantly be looking for flanks.
I actually really like this lane assignment from Gen.G. I don't know if they were the one that started it, but having Chovy in top instead of mid means that it's a much heavier investment to punish the lack of flash, right? Because the jungle or anyone who roams actually needs to go up to the top side of the map, which opens up a lot more cross-map compared to being in mid, as we do see Ruler getting sufficiently bullet, as you would expect in this matchup, as Ludens is done for Viper as well. And that is a lot of damage onto anyone that is squishy, and Ruler definitely falls within that.
Look at this setup we've got coming through from Gen.G as they just have this beautiful array of wards neatly lined up all around behind the dragon, ready for some potential TP flanks. Some of that vision is now going to be cleared out from the side of Gen.G, but sorry, from HLE. But this vision control is just a great demonstration of Gen.G being very aware of how they need to set up and be ready to contest this dragon spawning in 20 seconds.
Yep, exactly. Coming up very, very soon. And Gen.G pretty excited about collecting themselves 2 in a row, setting up for that soul point that has been so important this Worlds. Didn't quite get to see it too early last time around, but this time could be an opportunity to do so. As you mentioned, HLE clearing things out. They do so, but not all of it. As now Viper going to be teleported on, but it's going to take a little while, and Chovy does pick up the wave, but Viper comfortably removes his.
Zeus, even though he is down gold, has been able to keep it not too far away from his lane opponent. Was up to 650, I think, at some point. But more importantly, Zeus is, I think, in this composition, merely a tool. He does need to do late AD, or a lot of AD moves when we get to late. But right now, if he ults either Chovy or Ruler, and Viper can ult, he's already done his job, right? There is a lot of power in the ability for him to lock down a target in the backline. But he does need to hit those ultimates, and we have seen that with Ambessa, that can really be a struggle. As Drake fight imminent here, gentlemen.
Yep, and speaking of hitting ultimates, the Poppy as well is going to be instrumental. Delight needs to get rid of some of the key pieces here on Gen.G, because that way they can set themselves up to just take things. And Gen.G won't have the opportunity to get in there and do anything about it. Of course, Kiin, going to be a difficult target, right? He's got the mist he can slink into and won't be hit away, but there are certainly some other options, and Chovy and Ruler don't have a lot of mobility on these champs. Susceptible here to the Keeper's Verdict, but not susceptible to having this Drake taken away, as it is just going to be removed. Popping Cups are not going to do too much as Duro finds the angle. Chains of Corruption are going to come down, but Gen.G not interested in a fight. They got what they wanted, and it is a Cloud Soul here, set up here for Soul Point for Gen.G in 5 minutes' time. I
really thought HLE would try to contest that more, but it seems that they're not confident enough, given the spikes that they have, to actually try and contest this right now. Because you look at Chovy's itemization, he prioritized upgrading his boots before completing his first item, which made me think that, oh, HLE would say, well, we've got first item on our mid laner, first item on the Ziggs, so let's try and contest this objective. But instead, they're playing the safe approach. We know that they have good scaling on their side, and there's no obligation for them to force anything too early. But if they concede too much, then Gen.G could potentially run away with things. For now, though, the gold very even.
And in my mind, I have things that Orc says, because there's a Ziggs in this game. So far, not too many plates have been taken. We've got 10 seconds until they fall off completely. And you can see here in the top lane, looking relatively pristine. Same can be said for the tower on the other side. And here in mid, it's only 1 or 2 that have been taken. And so as they do fall down, let's see whether Viper can get himself around and start using this satchel to be that demolitionist we know he can be.
That ward is pinged, so Canyon should be aware of everything that's happening. Chovy just finished his Blackfire Torch, and I do think for Gen.G it's a big deal that they have these two dragons, because while there are parts of that comp that skill really well, right? I think that Lethality Varus actually skills a lot better than he used to. Orianna is kind of a no-brainer, same for the Gwen. As you have highlighted repeatedly, Vedi, once Zeka and Viper get to a point, if your engage isn't immediate and crisp, you're just going to get poked down. And I think Hanwha Life, with the level of play they've shown today, are going to need to be goaded into fights they don't really want to take, and Dragon is the best tool for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Gen.G just have to be fast, and we know that they're a team that can definitely do that. You've just got to find the right window to do it. Nice trade comes through from Zeus onto Kiin. As we're getting ready for the Herald. 5 seconds time, Gen.G's in position once again. Resets have come through from HLE. No TP available on Zeka, but he's going to get back out onto the map quickly. Gen.G yet to start this one off as Zeus getting that push on the bot side while Delight provide this cover.
Yeah, he is seen on that ward as well, so that should spell the start of this Rift Herald. And that will indeed come on through. So Canyon wanting to put that one together. We don't have feats of strength down just yet, but this will mean it for Gen.G. As Peanut goes in, not wanting to give this one away. As you can see, the Hextech Minefield doing so much work to flash out of the way. The Mega Inferno Bomb was necessary. As Zeus, it's a teleport over extension as he flashes away back into the pit, but it looks like Peanut might be able to take it. There it is. As they look for the eye as well, Peanut will be able to collect that one. Keeper's Verdict gets rid of the Jarvan, and now Kiin has to be the savior for Gen.G, and he may be just that, as he takes down Peanut first, and then just dashes out of the back of the pit.
And it is a 1-for-1 trade, but Hanwha going to be happy with that one because they got the Herald, denying an opportunity for Gen.G to really keep accelerating the game, taking the crucial objective. We'll see if they're able to get more here with mid lane turret. Possibly on the siege, but they're not going to commit.
The start of the fight is a great demonstration of how HLE want to play the composition. You poke, you chip, you don't fully commit to anything, and now Duro is basically out of the fight. This means that Gen.G's forced to retreat, but the TP here from Zeus, it looks like he wanted to ulti Canyon, who is stuck in the pit, in order to try and set up a play. While they do secure the Herald, the arrival of Kiin really changes the dynamic. It's a 4 versus 5, even though they have the health advantage. That shockwave onto 2 with the damage from Kiin mean that fight was a lot closer than HLE were hoping for.
And had no business being, because as Duro went in, Canyon got knocked out. So Canyon wasn't even there. They didn't get value from the Jarvan whatsoever, as
Duro in trouble yet again here as Delight looking for a bit of an angle. Doesn't quite get there, but when the wind becomes lightning, does get the slow. Peanut, another audacious charge as Canyon comes on through. Mega Inferno Bomb! And that is so much damage the Nautilus could not take. Peanut says top of the morning to you, and it's another kill here, evening things out for HLE.
4 members committed from HLE on the top side of the map, allowed for Ruler to push in that mid wave, but he doesn't have the threat onto the tower to really convert it into anything. So just an easy pick secured for HLE. And similar to game 1, we find ourselves in a very even mid game.
And the thing that was happening in game 1 was HLE were overloading a side lane, but then Gen.G on the cross map were doing so much. What's the best thing about Ziggs? Well, he doesn't need to walk very far to help you overload a side lane, so back into the mid lane he goes, and this turret remains quite healthy. And so I think the adaptation here for HLE, based on this draft and how they're playing it out, seems to be working quite well as we check out the Coinbase gold grind. And Kiin getting a lot of money, has been a little bit behind as far as CS is concerned the entire game. But this guy's a problem. I mean, it's 900 gold. He's 4-1-0. We're used to the 4 being in the other column.
It's only going to get worse from here. That is, to me, the strongest part of the Gen.G composition. As Herald's dropped mid, Hanwha Life really want to deny the possibility for a soul point here for Gen.G. As mid lane turret will fall. That's the first turret of the game as well. And I think Gen.G have had better setups thus far in this series for objectives. But Hanwha Life want to try and poke as much as possible as Duro again getting taken low.
But you can see in the setup, the poke comes through from Viper. And again, they're quite happy to allow Gen.G to just start this objective off because they know that once you're trapped fighting the objective, that's when the Ziggs poke can really be lethal.
And this is now feats of strength. As you can see, we're all tied up. Whoever gets this objective will be able to lock that one down.
There we go.
Already, Gen.G have started it. Control ward goes down. This ward in the back of the pit trying to get all the information that it can. They're not going to give this one up without a fight. Mega Inferno Bomb is going to be there. Let's see how much damage it's going to get down on both of the carries into that backline. Is now Duro once again going to be eliminated, but Kiin finds the backline. Delight going to be the first one to go down as Ruler is able to do it. Peanut gets in, but it's Canyon with the smite. This time around, Soul Point, some cool shoes, and let's see whether they can win this fight at the same time. Great knock-up onto Zeus as he's trying to dash his way up, and Zeka finds the angle onto Ruler. The Emperor's Divide will find it again as Zeus is able to take down Canyon. HLE, a gorgeous team fight.
Only Chovy is left alive as Gen.G walk away with the dragon, but HLE find the fight. A fight on multiple fronts that looks so scrappy at the very start, but it goes the way of HLE.
And I want you to look at Kiin. He is most of the money, most of the threat on Gen.G. The bomb does a lot of damage to the backline. Duro miraculously stays alive and they get the counter kill. But look at Kiin. He doesn't actually get the kill on Viper. If he gets the kill on Viper, I think this fight is won. Instead, he goes down, Viper gets a shutdown, stays alive, and now him and Zeus can cut off this exit avenue as Ruler gets knocked into the knockup from Zeka. Oh, Delight though!
Yeah, we're straight back into the fight as of course this is a Poppy. And so does get shockwaved, but isn't too worried about it. We'll be now going back to base. Otacon on the menu. That's why we have R buttons being thrown around.
And I really value or Cloud Soul, but falling behind against the Hanwha comp when you are Gen.G, you're going to get to a point where even if you find an engage, if they're not caught off guard, you will just get shredded. Like, just the minefield alone is going to completely blow you up.
But again, like, when it's a fight that's playing from range, I just feel HLE have the advantage. Of course, Varus's poke is one thing, but compared to Ziggs, it's not comparable. And so as long as Viper is landing those bombs, it is very difficult. And now, especially in these choke points, if Gen.G try to approach, it's so difficult. So this should be an uncontested objective. But as I say that, Canyon's making his way down.
Yep, they're looking to fight for the Otacon. They're not going to be able to stop this tower from falling down. Yep, 2 teleports bring Duro and Kiin into the fight. The Otacon down to 50%. HLE do need to be careful. Steadfast presence is decent, but it's only onto Duro, and Delight is already taken down. Viper getting closed in onto Chovy is Zeus looking for Kiin in that backline, but I don't know whether he wants that fight as Peanut so close to dead. The Crescent Guard doesn't work, and he's thrown into the sky by the Demacian Prince. Now the Otacon should go over to Gen.G, unless Zeus can do anything about it. It is going to be there, and Zeus also going to get picked off, although he's looking for Chovy before he goes down. Chovy barely barely survived, and it's Ruler that picks up the kill. Empress Divide used defensively here as HLE limp away.
This fight was just so one-sided from Gen.G. They converted pick after pick after pick, as it felt like HLE, the uncoordination that we saw from game one sprouts up once more.
And it's the mark from Kiin onto Zeus. Last time he was trying to 1v2, that doesn't work out. But Kiin keeps Zeus out of the fight, and even though this Ambessa isn't necessarily in the best of spots, if he finds an ult onto Ruler or Chovy, they will still die just from the ult. But instead, he gets marked, they are shredded from Otacon, and I think once a double TP comes through, they should have just backed out.
But look at the chain CC that comes down onto Delight as well. The front line is eliminated. Then Azir is rooted on the left-hand side, so Peanut and Viper on the bottom. Chovy gets a good ulti onto Peanut saying, you know what, I can't get in range of Viper and Zeka anyway, so why bother, just kill the front line. Zeus, as you highlighted, completely removed from the fight. And so Gen.G just play pick after pick.
And when the Orianna is walking into the Xin ult, you know that's not good. That's not a good look for the fight, as he just follows up as... I want a supercut of just Helper's expressions.
Yeah, I know, it's the roller coaster of emotions. This guy, you can really tell what's happening there in that room. As you can see, it is 32-4 on the pedal count. So that gold that you're seeing being very even is actually about 2.5k in Gen.G's favor as far as stats.
And I really thought that last fight would be so much harder for Gen.G to play. We talked so much in draft about the disengage that comes through from HLE, the amount of range that they have to play with, and I thought that as Gen.G approached that objective, they'd be taking way more poke than they actually ended up taking. And it felt largely because of HLE's positioning, and it was something we talked about in the first series. Gen.G's positioning around these neutral objectives is extremely good, and HLE can't quite find the poke that they need to win out on these fights.
And now, Hanwha Life, they need to take this fight. They don't have a choice not to. You're looking down Soul Point. I want you to look at the summoners on the enemy team. I think even Kiin will have his flash available. All these sums are up. You are pushed into a fight before Viper has hit his third item, before Zeka has hit his third item. Because if you don't take this fight, you're in deep trouble. If you do and lose, you're in deep trouble. And Hanwha Life want to stay away from that 0-2 deficit. Because even though Gen.G was in the same position against them way back in the road to MSI, and Gen.G was able to fight back, I think you're going to be feeling a lot more confident if you're not there, as Hanwha Life, they know they have to take this fight.
Let's see what they can actually get done here. Like you were saying, Cloud Soul going to make this poke comp difficult to play as Chovy going to get cornered here, but gets out of the way of the bomb. They did manage to take him down in the end though, as Viper is untouched. Kiin gets in there, he's in the mist looking for Zeus, but the needlework doesn't quite connect, and now it's him that has to flash away. A blast cone is going to be there for him and Ruler to stay safe, but this dragon belongs to HLE.
And it's Peanut that finds his old teammate, takes down Chovy. And that is Soul Point denying Hanwha Life, showing that Gen.G had to work for it in game one. They're going to have to work for it in this one.
The beauty of these teams is nothing slows their momentum down. He stacks up the Q on the control ward, flash knock-up, follow-up. Even though he flashes away to safety, it's that engage from Delight to connect him to the wall to allow for HLE to find themselves another kill. Once Kiin is in, the rest of his team just cannot follow. He's forced to retreat, he flashes away, and HLE deny the soul from Gen.G.
The fact that it is only one kill, though, means that the gold is going to remain pretty similar. Some crabs being collected here as we do have the Baron just spawning, about 15 seconds old right now. Does obviously look a lot older than that, but I mean, technically, it is true. As
hey, she's been around, you know, she's
I don't
not
know
on
very many
Summoner's
other
Rift.
Barons, so I don't have much to compare it. What's a baby Baron look like?
I can't answer these questions for you, Atlus.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. We didn't prepare that one. That's fine. Vedius, do you know?
I'm afraid I don't.
Dang.
My only estimation is that it goes Scuttle Crab, Rift Herald, Baron.
Oh, are they all the same animal?
I don't think so.
Probably
but I have
not.
seen Baron plushies, and those look very cute.
They do.
Yeah.
That might be more of a, you know, okay, never mind.
I know, it's just a small version, but we don't know.
Yeah.
You know, we could be wrong.
And the Void might just do things differently. You never know. You might go from a plushie to a Baron. That might just be the way that it works.
But you know what won't be different?
What won't be different?
Both of these teams will attempt to murder Baron.
They will.
Will further their conquest in succeeding here in game two. And right now, both teams are fighting over vision. You can see the double investment of the control ward. That might seem odd, but it's basically to cover as much of the Baron pit as possible. And Zeka will secure that top tower. That is now all Adder towers finally going down. 26 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
Just goes to show how much slower this one has been. Not in the kills department, but in terms of the map control. As Gen.G now reclaim that vision control, clear out what vision HLE have set up, and now the dance begins once more.
Well, back here, as you can see, Zeus moving up to this mid lane. Still has teleport. Kiin is going to shove that wave in. It looks like Gen.G now with a little bit of an advantage. Ambessa forced to move down towards that bottom side once more as the pendulum swings back once again. Level 15 for Chovy, so close to that shockwave level 3. Viper with the most gold in the game is great news. If you're an HLE fan, you love looking at that because this guy is going to be a huge part of the win condition. Him and Zeka needing to get things done later on.
We're also already in this game seeing the value of the Ziggs, because I guarantee you that mid lane turret would have fallen otherwise. But Ziggs' wave clear is just so insane, as Delight has been the #1 engaged target for Gen.G. Been able to consistently find him with those ults from Ruler. Has flipped the game on blue buff?
Yeah, let's do that. I think that sounds like a fun idea. We've got teleports committed. As now Delight going down incredibly low. Kiin is just going to chop him to pieces. The Poppy's not there, but the Emperor's Divide is going to try to punish. He wants to take Viper with him. It doesn't quite work. And now they look to go in. It's a beautiful cataclysm to break up the Fighter's Canyon. Also able to walk his way out. Peanut, he couldn't do so, as now Ruler is trying to do what he can. And the flag takes down the Xin Zhao. Gen.G with 4 left standing managed to win the fight.
Kiin takes things into his own hands as he runs down the HLE support, turning this into a chaotic skirmish, which Gen.G walk away the victors. Now there's no jungler on the side of HLE. This Baron will be uncontested, and Gen.G, just like that, take firm control over Game 2.
And it sets up into that soul in a minute and 15. Dragon is gonna spawn. And Gen.G this time around should have a much better setup than they did last time. Peanut then found a beautiful engage. But here, I was just kidding, but it's again Delight that I think baits the rest of the team in. They go so aggressive in this defense, and then Kiin, even though it goes down, as you highlighted Vedi, he does his job.
He absolutely does, taking Viper out of the fight as well. Zeus goes in a little too deep as he tries to work with Peanut to threaten the back line. But now it's Gen.G that's in the position of authority. They poke down their opposition. A nice snipe comes through from Canyon, connecting the E. And the frustration on the face of Peanut.
Yeah. Helper, not as much as far as frustration is concerned, as now Gen.G with this siege set up. Zeus able to dash his way out of dodge as Peanut just looking to clear out whichever camps he can find. This inner turret is still going to be difficult to take. We talk about, you know, Baron being a really good thing to be out of siege. It's still Ziggs. So we're to get a lot of work done as far as killing these minions are concerned, and Kiin probably going to have to be on that split to make something happen.
Ruler.
I don't think Kiin has the Baron at this point either. So if there is just a Mega Inferno Bomb thrown at that wave and it's just Kiin that's there,
he knows.
He's got to. He's aware of this particular position on the map. It's all right, Gen.G set up now for this Cloud Dragon. Delight off to the side, wanting to try and make this helicopter work for him. If this Keeper's Verdict lands, it could be such a big deal. Chains of Corruption, he's going to start this fight as Peanut. Crescent Guard there to keep himself safe. And now the flash in, he gets the turret, he managed to cancel it! Public Execution is still going to be able to find Zeus away into the backline, but the Cataclysm is there from Canyon to buy the space, and Zeka goes down! Zeus is going to follow suit, and he tried as he might, but Gen.G are going to win out, and even though they lose, the Drake might be able to take even more.
Peanut steals away the dragon, but the cost was so much. Gen.G, they're hunting, they're fighting, they're trying to deny HLE from getting back to base, because if they stop Viper, then the wave clear disappears. With the Baron, they're setting their sights on their first inhibitor of the game.
BGPs, 40 seconds, initial highlight, Vedi. If any other member was alive, I think they're just cooked, but it's Viper that's still there.
Oh, Peanut gets a whole lot of his health back, but unfortunately, Chovy's orb is now doing a fair bit of work, and he's able to put him down.
But the Nexus stands, at least for now. They weren't able to kill it with the Baron pushes. We take another look at the fight.
Duro connects a beautiful hook. After Peanut gets chunked out, you're going to see it here. The disengage, the hook onto Zeka as the shockwave connects as well. Just beautiful layering of CC. The fact that Peanut gets a smite in the midst of all of that is just absolute chaos.
And then Canyon finds the ultimate, jumping over the wall as Zeka tries to disengage.
and you can't kite back. If Canyon's going to be able to always find it and just puts him in a cage, then you're just not going to be able to do anything about it. 4.5 thousand gold is going to be the lead here for Gen.G.
Can't put the pigeon in a cage.
No, you're not allowed to. Oh, I mean, they did do that quite a lot.
I mean, metaphorically, in this game, they need Zeka.
Yeah, you should have. Not this pigeon. This pigeon's an emperor.
Well, right now,
Sorry,
he's being... they're threatening to bury him right now.
Yeah, they certainly are.
And Zeka, he's definitely not had a bad game by any means, but Gen.G, just their team fighting is unbelievable. It feels like that every single player is a threat. We're using a different name every single team fight. But now, the one shining light for HLE is Viper Life eSports. Death cap completed for the Ziggs. The wave clear is monstrous. And as long as some poke connects, there's always a chance for HLE to find a fight. Gen.G wisely looking to play through 2 lanes. They have Kiin moving over to mid. The split push threat of the Gwen is going to be something that HLE will be forced to divide their resources to have to deal with.
They can move between mid lane and top pretty comfortably. This inner turret hasn't really taken damage though. And at 32 minutes into the game, that is pretty impressive.
And Ruler is basically feeble. They also in Gathering Storm. So like he is actually doing a good amount of damage here. About half an item away from fully complete. And I think they need to play on opposite sides of the map because otherwise the Ziggs wave clear is just too much.
Well, Duro may have found Zeus here. Chains of Corruption to land. Can they blow up the Ambessa? It'd be so important, but the Mega Inferno Bomb is going to buy some space. Man, that piercing arrow got so close. And it is going to be Zeus making his way out. Gen.G a little bit further away from their fountain, so I'm just going to back away.
I think Viper actually used his satchel to proc the spell shield, which is why Ruler took about 60% of his health bar just from the ultimate as Peanut.
He goes in, gets the knock up here onto Canyon. He's relatively tanky though. Just sending a message at this point in time. Gia intact here for the J4.
But you can see how difficult it is for Gen.G to close out this game, even with a 4.5k gold lead. They've got level advantages across the board. They have item advantages across the board, but it's not enough when you have a champion that can clear a lot of waves very quickly, which means that Gen.G's priority will be the Baron. That siege, the power that it provides with your minions is going to be more than enough to help break apart the base defense that HLE will have. And so now they will begin their setup. They've already got preliminary vision around the river. The push in mid is the most important part. Someone will likely be sent up top to put pressure there as well. And then the moment it spawns, I think Gen.G should start it immediately. With Gwen, they have a very fast Baron take, and HLE still have to move through this fog of war. They have two deep wards, I should say, as observers highlight for us. So there are ways for them to get into the pit thanks to their triple TB.
Oh, they know it's not being taken in the
perfect
control. It
position.
doesn't spot it.
That's really, really nice. That control ward flanked by those 2 wards that were already put in place. Zeus off to the side here as Peanut dealing with his wolf camp for the moment. HLE spread out quite wide, but as we can see, the Baron is going to get started. The full information over to HLE here. As let's see, that Keeper's Verdict going to once again be so important. Kiin on that flank angle, as we can see. Zeus taking a bit of poke damage, but Gen.G need to be decisive. Otherwise, these bombs will start to hurt.
Look at Canyon.
Yeah, looking to get that flank happening, but just move straight back to the Baron. Could be the opportunity here as HLE get that Sun Disc set up. Peanut on that angle.
A full vision still.
Look at Viper's mana. He's getting a little bit low. The Baron's dropping.
Mega Inferno Bomb to try and soften them up, but it doesn't really land. Ruler already down to 50% though. As Zeus, oh man, you can see he really wants to kill that Varus. If he can find an angle, he will certainly go in, but the defense here from Gen.G is fantastic.
Canyon didn't get out of the way.
Yeah, not going to happen. So the Poppycopter not going to find too much of anything, but the poke
Oh my goodness. It's so tense right now.
Teleport back available here for Viper if they do want to continue this, but now it's the soul that's in the minds of Gen.G. What they want to do is make decisive calls. Well, a whole bunch of extra movement speed certainly going to be helping out with that one as they turn their eyes on the other pit on the map towards the bottom side.
Delight needs to replenish his wards, but Duro's already done that, so he's making his way back out onto the base. TP from Delight comes through from the spell book. He's going to make his way into mid lane as well. It's HLE that have position on the river.
Yeah. Peanut knows what's going on as Canyon turns his way in. Minefield comes down, Mega Inferno Bomb, a lot of damage onto Ruler once again as Canyon continuing on that flank.
Zeus is
Spots
on
out
the
exactly
ward.
where they are, and Zeus, like you say, is on the ward.
Oh, Canyon, they spotted that
Kiin-
ward.
Yeah, Kiin goes over to the side and now is going to show himself. Peanut is alongside him, but that means he's nowhere near the pit. This is the long con from Canyon. Can he find the angle? Duro goes in, but the steadfast presence stops it. It denies it, and there's the Empress Divine doing absolutely nothing. Ruler this time gets the last laugh as they dive on forward. It's the resurrection here for a Canyon as HLE now trying to do what they can. Viper is still alive with so much damage. Ruler is there as well, but the artillery not quite landing. A 3 versus 3 after all is said and done. And is that it? Okay, it's a stalemate.
Zeka looks to have his faker moment, but Ruler's been here before. He does not allow Zeka to find the angle. The Azir drops so quickly, but HLE still find a good fight. It's a 3 versus 3. Peanut and Canyon are both alive.
We're going to flip
back.
He's running as fast as he can.
He's going to try and get there as soon as he can, but I don't know whether it's quite going to
Here
work.
we go.
Canyon needs to hit this fight. He does it. It's taken by Viper. Mega Inferno Bomb gets rid of Duro, but now Canyon, can he find the damage in this one? And he should be able to, but no, the satchel gets him over, and the Q is not enough. HLE even out the Drakes. It's highway robbery. I don't know how that even happened.
And they get the dragon. Ruler goes hunting for Ziggs, but he is not found. 5-0. 5 for Viper. How is he still alive?
Peanut is not alive. 30 seconds until he's back out on the map. HLE feel like they have to contest this objective. It's a 4v4 as Duro is still down.
Yeah, they absolutely have to fight for this one. This second Baron is going to be so
Poppy.
difficult for them to deal with. The Poppy Copter, it gets rid of the job, and there's no smites in here now as the public execution connects on a Chovy. So much damage from Zeus as they've taken down already from down. It's Viper as he finds his mark, and HLE, it should be their turn to take the Baron this time.
HLE come together and execute on the fight. The Poppy ult was good. The Viper ult was good. Zeus locks down onto Chovy, removes him from the fight, but the Baron still lives.
And that was his one drop. Just hit an ult, bro. Just one ult. Then he finds the ult. Chovy goes down, and now this should be Baron to Hanwha.
And we were talking about 1 and 4 Gwens being terrifying. I present to you the 1 and 6 Ambessa from Zeus, who was such a monster finding the angle onto the back line, and that will net them this Baron. HLE, they are not going down without a fight, and they're looking to even up this best of 5 and guarantee us at least 4 games.
These rivals are not holding back with their punches. The ulti from Delight onto Canyon was so important. The engaged falls apart. Chovy gets locked down. The shockwave gets sidestepped by Zeus as well.
Wall. It was crazy.
Beautifully executed as Viper finishes off the kill.
And there you see as well, he didn't even get clipped by the bomb until he died. That was just the mines. The damage from the mines at this point in the game with how fed Viper is absolutely mind-boggling. And it's all going to come down to that final dragon.
And these fights have been intense. They've been crazy. But the player of the game for me has been Peanut. The smites from the dragons earlier were so important. In the midst of some chaotic fights, he still managed to outsmite Canyon. And it was Viper that got that 3rd dragon. But by being able to stall out the game, HLE now find themselves in this position. And they will finally begin a siege of their own.
Well, Chovy gets his health bar halved by his former teammate here as Viper just making things as difficult as possible. Now with the Baron, HLE, I mean, they're going to teach Gen.G how to siege. This Ziggs certainly knows what he's doing.
I want to draw your attention to some of these flanking wards, possibilities that Gen.G could be looking for. Kiin does have his TP available.
Yeah.
Right now he's just acting as wave clear as they try to stave off the siege from HLE.
A very small ARAM has occurred as the Sun Disk will be put up. The Gen.G should be able to stop this for the moment. Of course, range wave clear is going to be there from Ruler, but still, with a bit of this Red Bull Baron power play to go, still a minute left, and Zeus is going to help by shoving out this mid wave as well. It's getting dangerous though. It's 41 minutes into this game. If HLE lose a fight, there's an open door in the middle of this one as Mega Inferno Bomb is just coming down off cooldown.
It's a full build Ziggs. And you can feel as well, I think, some hesitation from Hanwha here, even with the Baron buff. They know if we lose control of this game, we go down 0-2, fighting back. It's possible, but it's a monumental task. And these two teams, last time they went to 5 was all the way back at Road to MSI. That was a crazy series, but the intensity of these first 2 games has been something else entirely, as both Peanut and Chovy, kind of the main characters of the teaser, have had their fair share of heartbreaks in quarter, some of it together.
Yeah, and both of them have played for both of these teams as well. At different times, sometimes at the same time, but also at different times. It's just crazy, the overlap between these squads. And so many times, Chovy has made it so extraordinarily close, but never making it to the final here at Worlds. Now wanting to do so as Peanut looks to have his last dance, looking to follow Deft to military service and doing it the right way. As HLE now back off towards this Quadra Cloud Soul. Should be just absurd amounts of movement speed.
They're gonna poked.
Yeah, looking for a bit of an angle here. Zeus, big shield, just eats the entirety of that arrow. And Gen.G just brute forcing their way in, but the darkness is so scary. These bouncing bombs, as you can see, doesn't matter who you are, it's going to do a whole lot of damage. The minefield down, the satchel down. Now the minefield's going to fall, but Duro doesn't find the hook as they get rid of the Jarvan again. Chovy's almost just dead before it even starts, as they'll take Duro as a consolation kill. And the public execution brings Zeus into the back line. 1 versus 3, but he's got friends on the way. And the Emperor's Divine, it shuts down Kiin. Canyon is now looking to run his way to the other side of the map as Peanut will find him. It's jungle versus jungle, and Peanut says, not this time, Canyon. HLE are going to look to even out the series, as Gen.G should be losing most of their base.
And Hanwha Life's tenacity will be rewarded as they try to pull the waves, but it doesn't matter. Hanwha's in their base.
Yep, these minions should stay alive, and they've got so much damage to these structures. As Ruler just doing his best. The Baron is worn off. Mega in front of him this time. Not going to connect. Shockwave is going to get away as Chovy takes down one. Ruler takes the other, and HLE. They're like, nope. Get me out of here. We're gonna play this game some more.
The base. We're 45 minutes in. Look at the death timer on Zeus. That's 50 seconds.
I mean, Kiin is 10 seconds away. He has TP available. Gen.G have set their sights on the middle lane as Canyon. He's trying to interrupt the bases. They have to stop Viper from getting back, but these are fast boys. They've got the 4 Cloud Dragons. They're running like their life depends on it. My goodness, Chovy in the face of HLE looking to end the game says, no, you shall not pass. The ulti connects, stops the Nexus from falling. 44 minutes and this game continues to go.
And any other game, I think it's absolutely over. But the Ziggs was still alive. So your minions will not be if you try and go for this without a Baron buff. Let's have a look at it. 2-man Shockwave. Just gorgeous from Chovy.
Absolutely beautifully done. And you could see that HLE was hesitant, but with the Nexus in their eyes, they wanted to try and end. The fans are feeling the exhaustion, but imagine what the players must be feeling right now. It's only game 2. We are at 37 kills, 45 minutes. HLE, the gold doesn't matter anymore. Everyone is full build. Shockingly, Viper remains deathless. He has yet to die in this game. He's done so much damage.
Yep.
We're back to Baron.
3rd Baron. This is now officially the longest game at Worlds, and it's not looking that close to ending just yet. Satchel is decent there, as let's see what the Poppy can get done. It hits 2, it's Ruler and Chovy, and Zeus looks to get in there, and now Duro should be the first one to fall, but no one's gone down yet. Zeka is the first one to go, as now Zeus gets chopped up by Kiin. The bouncing bombs are still there, though. Viper is at full health, but Gwen is immune. Chovy is... Okay, the Baron lost interest, and thank goodness, because otherwise that could have been very weird.
Both junglers fall. It ends up being favorable for Gen.G, but my goodness.
If Viper's alive, it's not over.
There's too much to track. The ulti goes in from Viper into the pit. It's looking good for HLE. They're landing their poke. But then Zeka dives in. He gets the ulti onto... Oh, but the ulti from Peanut knocks it back! It actually saves Ruler. They weren't coordinated, allowing for Ruler to get the safety. He continued to dish out the damage. And then Kiin on the front line just melts through HLE.
Here we go. Joey, just stop much.
Okay, he's on his it, but still has to walk through the minefield. Now he's at 50%. It's Baron. Not quite so much. And
Delight.
we've got the Hex Splash from Delight. Let's see whether we can find the angle. He doesn't have the ultimate, but he does have the smite angle. Chovy also now having to deal with the Baron, but they get rid of the Poppy, and down goes the Baron. Absolutely required.
Is that
if
it?
Gen.G want to win this game.
Ziggs is still alive.
Gentlemen, we have on our hands absolute cinema as the third Baron goes down.
One of the Barons, yeah.
The Elder is 2 minutes away. My goodness. What
I need
a
Gen.G
close
to agree
affair.
that they're gonna team fight for this, okay? I want that. I feel like we deserve it
I
after
feel like
this
we've
game.
gotten everything we could ask for out of this game.
It's a very good point, but I'm a greedy man.
You're
Vedius.
a greedy man indeed. My goodness. Okay, so that bot inhibitor is still down. Chovy, no TP available. He has to be very careful about being on a side lane. Zeka gonna mount a turret of his own.
I mean,
They're now starting to group on the top side of the map. That top tower is still fairly weak.
Ruler's about to hit the 50-minute mark on Absolute. That's not on Gathering Storm. That's not a thing. That's just there in case. But we're only 3 minutes away. Gen.G is going to keep on poking, but we can see the wave clear from Viper remains an issue.
And gentlemen, we have hit longest game. That's definitely happened. We're also hitting most kills in a game. We're just breaking all the records here. HLE versus Gen.G Game 2. Need to remind ourselves that it is Game 2. There is definitely another one after this.
Yep.
I was going to say we should hold something back.
There is minimum one game after
The light.
Yeah, looking for an angle here as Duro wants to make his way over. Delight goes in, misses the stun onto the dead turret. Man, that could have been a huge deal getting rid of the smite there.
To have the confidence to do that, I mean, someone's got to make a play. But if that went wrong, that could have been the game right then and there. Wow. Some scary stuff as a single mistake with these death timers this late into the game could be all it takes.
All right, let's look at the cooldowns. There is no flash for Zeka. That's a big deal. There is a flash for Ruler as he just finishes his maul. There is Zhonya's on multiple members. There is spell shields on a lot of the members of Gen.G. We have Knight's Vow done for both supports as well. Kiin has a death cap. And Zhonya's as well.
Gwen, man.
All these Banshees doing some real work for Gen.G as well to help mitigate some of the poke. But with the range, it's not that difficult for HLE to knock it off.
All or nothing.
Yeah. Oh, needs to stay safe. Chains of Corruption gets the flash out of the Ziggs. Could be a huge deal, and that cooldown is not long. As you can see, a quarter done already. Zeus spotted on a flank angle as well, as now Canyon gets into the pit. Haven't started the Elder just yet. And HLE still healthy enough to fight for this one. Gen.G have to be so careful. HLE's poke is deadly. And Ruler trying to demonstrate that his own is too, but it's Delight off to the side. With that Keeper's Verdict up and available once again.
The waves are quite awkward. HLE feel that they have to try and control them. Mid is going to be quickly pushed in. Peanut going to regain some life off of the camp.
Oh, they cancel the light.
Gen.G's going to use this opportunity to move even deeper into HLE's jungle and try and push them back. The Fog of War observers showing for us now how little HLE actually see. Remember that the Gwen can basically solo this, but she's spotted in the middle lane.
If Gwen isn't there, the objective take from Gen.G isn't actually that fast, right? It's Lethality, Varus, and Orianna, so as long as Gwen is on vision, Hanwha know that it can't go down that fast.
It's a battle of attrition when it comes to vision. Right now, both sides are just clearing out what they can. I'm not entirely sure how many wards both supports have left, but I have to imagine it can't be many. But once the wards are gone, it's Gen.G that's in the better position as that control wards are getting them so much value.
Yeah, they're desperately trying to get Delight back home. There is the hook connecting. Step-Out's presence doesn't do too much. There's another chance of corruption, but it's not going to be enough to get the kill. Peanut on that flank angle, like you're talking about, these bouncing bombs are so scary as we crest the 50-minute mark here in game number 2. And the Elder Dragon lies forgotten as everyone is just looking to get the ideal setup to start this fight on their terms.
I mean, there's a few control wards left, 2 in the inventory of Duro, which is why Delight has to get back to base as quickly as possible. The Elder started.
Yeah, there is the hook connecting here as it's onto Peanut. Can he actually keep himself alive? The answer is yes. Mega Inferno Bomb into the backline breaks the shields. And Zeus, he now wants to be able to find that angle. Heroic charge from Delight as he's trying to be a hero. The shockwave is going to connect, but Zeus gets into the backline as well. Out goes Canyon yet again, but Zeka is dead. And the hook connects from Duro. Stun comes down, but Zeus, I mean, he's Ambessa, so should be able to get himself to relative safety as Peanut looks to pick up the wave here in the mid lane and buy as much time as he can.
What are they going to do? Gen.G can either look to end or they can play for, it looks like they're playing for Dragon. making sure they get this Elder, which should lead into Baron, which that's going to be it, right? The 4th Baron, the 5th Baron does the trick.
Elder Dragon is designed to end games, and Gen.G is looking to do just that. Zeka dying in the midst of the chaos allows for Gen.G to take position around the Drake, but in that war of attrition, it was Gen.G that held strong. HLE, they couldn't threaten the backline like they could earlier. The ulti from Viper just knocking off those spell shields.
Oh, down to 4.
He's waiting for as long as possible to ensure they have the biggest amount of uptime.
Yeah, they've got the most of it
He
to
also
fight
didn't
around
use
this Baron.
Smite.
But the TP coming in from Zeka, he's not at the start of the fight, forces the ulti early, but that ulti from Viper doing very little. Now just watch the ball, watch Chovy as he sets his sights, the hook connects, the combo comes through, the one-shot onto Zeka. He doesn't even get a chance to throw out the Zhonya's. Zeus now very deep, can do very little as he's forced to disengage.
Yeah, and I won't translate that for you, ladies and gentlemen, although if you know, you definitely know. And it's understandable as we do finally see that back come through from Delight. Canyon and Duro.
Exodia about to be exampled.
Yeah, exactly. This is looking pretty good as we've got just over a minute and a half of Elder still remaining.
Viper, what are you doing down there?
The good old split push and Ziggs.
He has the TP, he can always join at a moment's notice. The vision control is just so much superior for Gen.G on the top side of the jungle though. HLE can't afford to fight, they have to stall, and they have the chance to do it.
I love this from Hanwha. So what they're doing is making sure that there's no multiple ways for Gen.G to play off with the Baron buff, forcing them into a fight, which if they overextend, if Viper can stabilize, who by the way is still deathless, there's an angle here for Hanwha to hold on despite everything, and you gotta imagine after a game like this is Kiin.
Kiin could be in a little bit of trouble here as they look to take him down. He's flashed, and there's the ulti out of Zeus. Are they looking to just go for a base race just right here? Kiin buys a bit of time, but he is now dead. And they've got a minion wave coming on through. It looks like Gen.G might be able to get it done, but Viper is still here. The minion wave is not. As Zeus is looking to stop these backs. He's got a GA, and never mind. They want to go for the team fight. Out goes Canyon yet again. He's magnetized to these ultis from Delight. And gentlemen, this game will continue.
Phenomenal! Absolutely phenomenal how both teams continue to find ways to outplay the other. 53.5 minutes. HLE get a pick onto Kiin.
And the biggest test, gentlemen, is for this new HUD. 3 digits. And then they nailed it. Beautifully done. Don't expect that to happen every single time.
And the Elder's wearing off.
And the legacy of Teddy's not enough. Elder is about to time out. And still 20 seconds on the clock.
It's not an Elder.
We need
not
a bigger
enough.
Elder. We must order one. Let's see. As Mega Inferno Bomb comes down, but it's eaten by a whole bunch of shields. As, oh my God. Okay, Viper, calm down a little bit.
There's some wards behind them, but Hanwha Life.
Yeah, there's one ward. I can highlight it real quick.
Really do respect Kiin coming back up as...
All right, well...
Oh my God, the exhaustion!
The game is even on turrets. It's 7-7. Both teams have taken 2 inhibitor turrets. The biggest thing is the fact that we have 3.5 minutes on this inhibitor respawning on the top side. Gen.G will have a bit of inherent control. And the Baron is still there for 55 seconds, even though the Rebel Baron power play says 700 gold, and 700 gold means approximately
this
0,
is a rounding
maybe
error.
less.
Junglers have never been this late into the game. They don't know what to do. They just have to keep they have to keep it for vision. They have to. You've even got the support item coming through. Oh my words. Gen.G, the Baron buff, still 30 seconds left, but it feels like that we're just waiting for another Elder. The wave clit of Ziggs Azir. I mean, it gives me like Season 1, Season 2 vibes.
This is some Frog and Anivia stuff happening here. That's all right. HLE looking to try and defend this inner turret. It's probably not the hill that I'd die on, and they are not going to.
Well, we did almost end the game. Remember when we thought the game was going to end over blue buff 25 minutes ago? Remember that, guys? That did happen.
I think I was a much younger man then.
Right? That did happen.
So young and naive, full of promise.
This may actually be the longest game I've ever cast in my 10-year career.
For the 92-minute. That was Papa and Achilles. So this might be my longest one as well.
I don't think I've broken the hour.
And yeah, I don't think I've ever broken an hour before. I don't know, but hey, I'm all here for it. An LCK matchup I was already excited for, but for it to deliver in such an LCK way as well.
And hey, it might be over an hour, but it could also be over 3 hours in theory because it has not ended yet. But let's just see.
I mean, all the items are bought.
I mean, Ulti's not in this game. He's the one that ended the 92-minute game.
Actually, who else? Is it only, I didn't check, is it only Ruler that has Gathering Storm? Because the amount of AD that man is going to be getting very, very soon is going to be
ludicrous. We need the Gathering Storm check.
Who is Gathering?
See who's getting the most value out of that one.
Obviously, we're just talking right now for the viewers at home, but that's because we're just waiting a minute until the Elder Dragon. When you're this late into the game, that's really all the game is about. The gold is pretty much irrelevant. Everyone is at full build. They're all buying pots. They're all just spending the gold wherever they can. Canyon's abandoned wards. He's bought a Knight's Vow. He's just got
no boots.
No shoes for Gwen?
Yeah, we're that late into the game, and so all that matters is securing this Elder Dragon. It will all come down to execution. And to be honest, even if Gen.G win a fight, if they don't kill the Ziggs...
Who is Deathless?
Who is Deathless?
Really, that's why the game's still going, Chronicler. We've been telling you this whole game.
Actually, that is, if Gen.G kill Viper, I think they win the game.
That may happen. You might be right, but that's proven itself difficult over the last hour that we've seen them play. Not to mention they can run away from anyone at a moment's notice because they have 4 Cloud Drakes. All right.
Here it is.
The Elder has spawned. One last reset, but no.
Here we go, gents.
They don't have time for that one as Gen.G all converge onto this Dragon. They have the vision advantage as Peanut shows himself. He does have a control ward down, and they see that none of Gen.G are at this area. They're setting up for a play. Ruler goes forward. Canyon looks to get the knock-up. He does find it. There is the chain as well. As Peanut might be caught out of position. He has a GA. But now in such an awkward spot. He tries to get himself out of there and he survives. He's dodging the needlework. He finds the heal. As Canyon might be traded for this one. Delight goes in. Looks for the angle. But they've managed to take 2. And now Gen.G. They move themselves forward. Viper's still alive. The Emperor's Divide doing a fair bit of damage. But it's one Ziggs and an Ambessa against the wall, and Ruler is flashing on top of Zeus. Gen.G, I mean, they haven't managed to do that thing we were saying, but they may just take the Nexus down instead.
All it took was a single pick onto Peanut. This late into the game, the death timers are so long. Viper alone, I don't think he has enough to hold the line.
Let's see what he can do. He's got that health bar back up yet again.
They can't let him approach.
There are no minions. As Mega Inferno Bomb deals with that wave, but he needs another one for the next. Zeus is doing such a good job as they look to take down the Nexus. Starts the Nexus is now exposed. Zeus, he finds one, and there it is! Gen.G will reach match point in the knockout stage for our first best of 5 in the longest game I have ever cast in my life. Analyst S, please, please, please take it away.
I love World! I love LCK versus LCK. I love League of Legends. I love whatever that was. That was one of the best games I've watched in any of the 15-year history of the World Championship. It's Gen.G that comes out on top in such a pivotal game, a game of inches, a game of heroics, a game of never letting go. Wow.
That game was insane. Like, we were looking at getting close to the longest game ever at Worlds, which was DFM versus IDG, 63 minutes. We didn't quite get there, but holy crap, what was this?
I can't believe it. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many moments where we're like, okay, surely this decides the game. But